we have expectations. When we have expectations, the only feeling that we can ever experience is letdown. When we have an expectation, we have a preconceived idea of what is going to happen. When we have a preconceived idea of what's going to happen, it never generally happens, so we feel let down. And what this does in our lives is it puts us on this roller coaster of emotions of always feeling that we're not achieving, that we're not where we need to be. We're not great, we're not good, we're not the person that we wanted to be or we want to be. We then put projections on other people and circumstances and situations. We're always striving to be someone better than we are. We're always striving to be more successful, a better person, and we get caught up in this dream. And what this dream is what we've been told is the truth. And what I mean by that is, sorry, I'm just getting a bit distracted with the chat flashing up. So when we project our expectations, we destroy relationships. And most importantly, we destroy the relationship with ourselves. You're only ever going to be disappointed when you have an expectation of something. You have no idea what's going to happen, what circumstances, what the other person is thinking. So like with this coronavirus that's going around right now, a lot of people have been like, right, we're going into peak season. We've just come out of the rough time of some businesses go down at Christmas, believe it or not. Especially January and February is a very challenging time for many businesses. So March is where they ramp up and they just got hit. In Australia, we had bushfires, so Christmas wasn't really Christmas. We had an expectation that Christmas would be lovely and warm and we'd enjoy it. That expectation was blown out of the window. Most places were on fire. I was completely surrounded by it in the Blue Mountains, but I didn't have an expectation. My dad was supposed to arrive on Tuesday, and as I shared with you, we found out that he had a brain tumour. If I had an expectation that he was coming and getting all excited about that, I'd have been devastated at the fact that my dad wasn't coming. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have expectations sometimes, and that's just the ego's way of trying to predict the future. So remember that. When we are ruled by our ego, and I'll go into the ego a bit today. It wasn't planned, but I feel like I need to share about the ego. The ego is our way of protecting ourselves in the world. It's our way of keeping ourselves alive. So we program our ego. Most of our egos have been programmed at a very young age, and they're programmed with things that are not always helping. So a great example of an ego that's not helping is when you want to achieve something. You really want to achieve something, but you keep sabotaging yourself. So you want to go and lose weight is a great example of this. Yet you keep finding yourself in the cupboard or the fridge. And then we have this judgment of ourselves because, God damn it, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep doing this to myself? And what's happened is the ego's been programmed to protect you. And it thinks that you losing weight is dangerous. Could be various reasons, but for many, they have programmed their ego that food is safety. And that comes from a lot of people where if they had a traumatic childhood and the only time that they felt safe was when they were offered a lollipop or they was offered food. They was offered something of comfort, and that was the way that the parent exchanged emotional energy with them. So say if your kid is crying, you got a toddler, falls on the floor, it's okay, I'll get you a lollipop, everything will be okay. What's happened is the parents created within that child's ego that when I eat something, I'm safe. So when we project and have an expectation, we don't know what's going on with our ego. Most of us have no idea what's programmed in our egos. And other people's egos, we have no idea what's going on for them. So what happens is we're setting up this reality that we believe that it should be this way, and we attach and we grip and we hold and we fight and we do everything we can and we do always work on ourselves, and we're in this cycle and we're looping and we're not getting anywhere. And we feel like, but I've done all this work, I've done everything, I've worked on myself to death. But if you don't understand what your fundamental drivers are, if you don't understand how your ego is being programmed, if you don't understand your subconscious patterns, then you're only ever really doing surface level work. You're only working on the surface. And we are like icebergs, okay? You see the surface on top of the water, and that's the things that we see. But most of our patterns, we don't know about. And you don't know what you don't know. I'll say that again. You don't know what you don't know. And generally, the only way that you start to find these things is looking out at other people and how you react to other people. Because if you're disturbed by another person's behavior, that means that there's a disturbance within you. That is how you learn. Now, for those of you who are parents, it's a double-edged sword. When you become a parent, you can't escape the fact that your child will trigger you, completely trigger you. A child is here to teach you how to be truly you. And for many, it's so disturbing that they abuse and take all that hurt out onto their children because they can't bear the thought that they have to take responsibility. And their ego and their subconscious mind is programmed to protect them from hurt. And if they look at themselves, they look at their children and see how their children are disturbing them and how they're reacting to it, then what happens is they shut down. And then they go into denial. And this is all unconscious. Parents, not all parents, most parents don't go lightly into having a child and go, you know what? I'm going to abuse my child. I'm going to use my child as a punch bag because I can't deal with my own shit. Very rare that parents would go in with that intention. And I don't know any that have. Okay? But what happens is our ego and our subconscious mind is programmed to protect us. And in that moment, the protection may be, I don't want to see that I'm not a very good parent. I don't want to see that I'm not a good person. So unconsciously, they are hiding from the truth because they can't cope with it. Some people just can't cope with the fact that they have created everything that's in their life. It's too painful. And what this is called victim mentality. So most people that I work with start off with victim mentality, that it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault that my life is the way it is. Now, I'm not saying that when you're a child that it's your fault. But what I am saying, as soon as you hit adulthood, it is your responsibility. It's never your fault, but it's always your responsibility, especially when you're an adult. And most of us have not been given the tools and techniques and knowledge to be able to thrive in life. We have to find them ourselves. That's what I had to do. And it's not easy. It really, really isn't, because you have to completely deconstruct who you are as a person and find out exactly who you are. Because if you don't know who you are chasing your tail constantly chasing your tail if you don't know who you are. If you don't know your core values of who you are as a person, you will allow other people to disturb you, sway you, and you become a victim. You need to understand fundamentally who you are, so then you can stand with sovereignty and integrity of who you are. So when someone comes along, you can't be disturbed by them. And if you are disturbed by them, you won't react. You'll just go, interesting. Interesting that I'm seeing this situation. Interesting I have this perception. Interesting I have this judgment. What is it within me that's disturbed? Because you don't know what you don't know. Your emotions is in a guidance system. And not many people teach this, but it's fundamental, and it's so important to understand that you are in control of your emotions, not the other way around. You are in control of your emotions. The reason why emotions become in control of you is because you don't understand what emotions are for. Emotions are a guidance system, okay? Who you truly are and who you were born. We are born perfect, okay? We are born perfect. We created ourselves inside our mother's womb. We are born perfect. It's all other people's projections, perceptions, expectations that have created who we are today. And when you can realize that if I allow other people to dictate to me, if I allow other people to make a judgment on who I am as a person, then I'm giving my power away. That is why when somebody says something to you hurtful, is why you feel a negative emotion, such as anger, disappointment, hatred, or you feel powerless, you feel that it's the truth. Because deep down inside of you, you know that that's not the truth, that you shouldn't take that on. But what we do is we take it on and we decide that that is our identity. It's who we are. I am what that person said I am. So we walk around with all these labels attached to us of what other people have put. They're not true. You have to find the labels that people have given you and you've given yourself and let go. Is it easy? No, because you don't know what you don't know. Does that make sense, everybody? You don't know what you don't know. If you don't know that you're walking around with a label that I'm a woman, and you think that you're a man, do you see that we walk around with these labels and we have no idea, and we're starting to lose these labels now, but we're creating brand new ones. So there's all these gender labels. So it's not just man and woman. There's all these different gender labels that are going around, but it's still a label of who you are. It's still, I must be this label so I can fit into this community. Everybody wants to fit and be accepted. So then they put a label on themselves so they can fit and be accepted somewhere. The only reason why you're looking to be accepted somewhere is because you don't accept yourself. I want you to ask yourself a question right now. What don't I accept about myself? And write it down. When you know what you don't accept, you've now gone into a different level. If you've never asked yourself that question before, you don't know what you don't know. Now that you're asking yourself that question, you'll get the answer. Might not be now, might be tomorrow, might be next week, but ask yourself a question. Some of you may be able to just write down straight away because it's been bubbling inside. You don't know what you don't know. When you are in suffering of emotional or physical pain, you generally are only consciously aware of 5% of your day. So what's going on for that 95%? That's a lot of stuff that you're not aware of. 80 to 85% of your thoughts are the same thoughts as what you had the day before. Constantly looping. And most of you won't even know what those thoughts are. You don't know what you don't know.